Facile formulas, catchy slogans, 10-step programs, and quick fixes too often dominate today's management training programs. But in organizations, as in all of life, human behavior is seldom predictable, and business dilemmas do not easily lend themselves to gimmicks or simplistic answers. In Management of the Absurd, psychologist, educator, and former CEO Richard Farson presents a series of management paradoxes designed to challenge conventional wisdom and encourage managers to re examine their assumptions about effective leadership. This is Ron. This is Thursday, November 2nd. Welcome to Story Time. So today is chapter 25. People we think need changing are pretty good the way they are. Newspaper editors grimace when challenged by the tired question, why can't you ever print any good news? Why is it all trouble, disaster, crime, violence, corruption, death? The answer, of course, is that they couldn't sell many newspapers otherwise. But the question does speak to a valid point. The consequence of news as we know it is that we develop a picture of society that does not reflect how most people actually behave. We have little confidence that people will do the right thing because we are so often made aware of the times when they do not. Our hysteria over crime and violence in America, for example, in the face of solid evidence that for several decades both have actually declined, is understandable. The fires of fear fanned by the media, which cannot resist putting the horror stories on the front page while the statistics about crime reduction are relegated to the inside pages, and by politicians who believe that exploiting fear is a sure road to election. We would never know from newspapers and TVs that our society is becoming more law-abiding, even while it becomes more urban, complex, and rife with new laws to obey or break. We don't receive the information that might cause us to entertain what many would regard as an absurd thought, that people are pretty darn good the way they are. Managers have the same problem. The workplace stories they most often hear tend to be bad news. Foul-ups, delays, cheating, failures, incompetence. Not much there to make managers feel good about the people they deal with. Business and industry respond by spending billions of dollars each year to train, encourage, and reward their employees, and to install security systems. But such efforts to fix people doesn't usually work, and may even be counterproductive. Situations, more than individuals, are what produce the difficulties, even though it is almost always looks as if it is individuals that are fouling up. The better managers try to fix situations, not people, by making structural changes in their organizations. Rather than attempting to change individuals, they are much more likely to change reporting relationships, enlarge or reduce the expectations of the job, set up flex time arrangements, and so on. The fact is that we can arrange situations to make people look either bad or good. We can devise experiments where almost anyone will cheat, and we can do the opposite, where the honor system works extremely well. Circumstances are powerful determinants of behavior. Nobody smokes in church. Finding the ceiling. Most employees are trying to do the best they can. They prefer to do good work, to cooperate, to meet objectives. They prefer harmony over conflict, action over inaction, productivity over delays. Not everyone, and not all the time, but in general, people want to perform effectively. Managers may have trouble recognizing this because they have never bothered to study human beings at their best, at their peak moments of achievement. Most studies of human behavior are done on people in school, a situation in which people are seldom at their best. Others are done in even less promising situations, such as clinics or prisons. Consequently, we really don't know what people are capable of doing, so our efforts are usually attempts to reform people rather than to educate, enlighten, and appreciate them, allowing their best to emerge. The policies and practices of our organizations often reflect this demented view of human resources. I once listened as a management consultant, Jack Gibb asked a group of managers in an exercise to design an organization that would produce the lowest levels of trust among its employees. He wanted to know what actions they would take and what procedures they would institute to create a low-trust organization. The managers had no trouble in generating a number of ideas. Make sure that everything is locked up, install time clocks, introduce voluminous manuals of operating procedures, develop rules and regulations on everything. Fire people without warning. Keep thick personnel folders on people to which they have no access. hold private meetings to which most people are not admitted, and so on. One by one, the managers in the audience flushed with embarrassment and amusement as they recognized that they were describing aspects of their own organizations. When Gibb reversed the exercise and asked his audience to invent a high-trust organization based on the idea that human nature is not all that bad, the managers tended to generate maxims that sounded very much like what is typically taught at good management practices. Take care to explain matters fully. Reverse the flow of communication. Develop a set of shared goals. Build a team rather than concentrating only on individuals. Offer rewards rather than punishment. Stay in touch with what is happening on the floor. Pay attention to the concerns, issues, and personal problems of the employees. Enlarge people's jobs. In short, what flows naturally from a belief in the positive side of human nature is just sound management, and the positive approach can become just as self-fulfilling as the negative. Psychology professor Michael Kahn has demonstrated how setting ground rules for group behavior in seminars can elicit high achievement. He points out that most seminars are organized like beauty contests, in which people are encouraged to show off their individual abilities and to appear smart when compared to others in the group. So it becomes important to them not only to look good themselves, but to criticize and even undermine others in the group. In his seminars, Kahn tries to achieve what he calls barn raising, an approach built on the metaphor of pioneer days when people who needed a new barn could count on their friends and neighbors to help build it. Instead of criticizing each other's ideas, he encourages people to try to advance them. The group takes someone's thought and attempts to build on it, and see if it really will become a structure worth saving. Although the approach may be very different from what people are used to, it is surprisingly easy to enter into once the ground rules are established. The resulting discussion is always more productive. The way we are. Most of us regret things we have done in our lives and continue to rehash episodes in our mind that we wish we had handled differently. But by and large, when we look back, most of us probably wouldn't want to change much. This is because one's life is made up of a full range of experiences, the good things often dependent upon the bad, and vice versa. The same holds true for organizations. When we build a team of people, we may, at the outset, wish that its members were different from what they are. We think this one might be too shy, that one too boisterous, another too cerebral, and so on. But once the team is built and begins working together, something pleasantly surprising happens. Instead of continuing to want to change these people, all of those characteristics that may have concerned us at the outset become qualities we come to appreciate as simply being part of the way people are. Absurdly, we find we really wouldn't want it any other way. And that was chapter 25, and coming up on Saturday, the 4th of November, we're going to start part 7, The Aesthetics of Leadership, with chapter 26, Every Great Strength is a Great Weakness. And that'll be on Saturday. Until then, thank you very much for joining me, and have a great day.